Well, the transfer window hasn't quite opened yet, but if you believe reports this morning, Newcastle United are about to sign Fulham centre-back Tosin on a free transfer, remember, because he's out of contract in the summer. He has refused to sign a new deal with Fulham, so he is 99.9% guaranteed to be leaving, and it looks like he's chosen Newcastle United as his destination. And I think this is a fantastic signing, by the way. Not just because he's an excellent player, but because we're getting him for free. You know, yes, we'll pay a bigger signing-on fee for him and give him a better wage, but we are saving millions of pounds. Now, do I, as a fan, think we'll go out and still spend money on a centre-back? Yes, I do. But we need cover, we need a squad, and bringing in free transfer like Tosin is a brilliant, brilliant deal, in my opinion. You know, there's talk about Lloyd Kelly coming in on a free as well. Left-back, centre-back. It's just improving our squad and giving us more numbers, because at the moment, the way this season's gone, numbers are very important, guys, and we've seen that number of times. But what we need to bring in isn't just numbers. We've got to bring quality in. And Tosin is certainly one of those players who is quality. He played against us a few weeks ago. Me and Billy pointed out what a great player he was during the Matchday Live show, and he certainly didn't let us down. He was excellent for Fulham. Even though we won the game, his defending was very well, and I think he'll be very warmly welcomed by Newcastle United fans. But as I say, I think we'll still spend big in the summer for another centre-back. But you've got to do this. If you want to be an elite side, like Newcastle United do, they want to be up there, they want to be chasing trophies and titles and things like that, we've got to bring in quality and quantity. It has to be a bit of both. And, you know, Tosin is a very, very good player. The fact that Manchester United and Tottenham and West Ham were all chasing him as well just tells you that this kid's got a lot of talent. And I think it'll be a brilliant, brilliant signing for Newcastle. He's 26-year-old. He's made 132 appearances for Fulham since signing from Manchester City in 2020. 78 of those appearances have been in the Premier League. So around about 2.5 years in the Premier League, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He comes in with experience of the Premier League. He's had a lot of defending to do with Fulham. Obviously, no disrespect to Fulham. But he's a busy man when Fulham tend to play against the better teams. He's just quality. And I think it's a brilliant signing. If it goes ahead. But the reports are saying that it's pretty much a done deal. And he looks like the next in the door on a permanent deal, following obviously Lewis Hall, whose deal will be made permanent in the summer because we won't finish lower than 14th, and that was the final piece of the jigsaw for him signing permanently. So I think it's wonderful. I really do. I think it's a brilliant signing. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, because obviously, you know, I'm speaking as a fan here that I'm really pleased that Tosin's coming in. Hopefully coming in anyway. But are you? What do you make of him? Is this a good move from Newcastle United, considering it's a free transfer? Because for me, it's an absolute no-brainer. I think he's an excellent centre-back and can add to the quality that we already have at Newcastle United. So I think it's a great signing. Now, next on the list is a bizarre one here for today's news. Gary Neville has recently stated in an interview that Newcastle United were apparently chasing him to become, or try and get him for an interview. Now, a lot of the headlines that I've looked through say, Neville turned down an interview with Newcastle United for the manager's job. But if you listen to Gary Neville, he doesn't say manager, he says coach. So I'm not sure whether Gary Neville was being approached as a coach or as a manager or, you know, first team coach. You know, that's what some managers are known as these days. So I'm not quite sure what position it was. But apparently, you know, Gary Neville found out that Newcastle were interested in bringing him in, but it didn't happen. He didn't have an interview or anything like that. He says at the time, obviously, it was just after the Valencia, well, it was a farce, wasn't it, at Valencia for Gary Neville. It was just after that, and he wanted to concentrate on his media duties rather than go back into coaching in the Premier League, which is fair enough. You know, he's done well out of what he's done, certainly with the shows he's involved in now, and of course the commentary and the punditry. So he's chosen to go down that path rather than coaching, and for me that's fair enough. I think Gary Neville comes out with some good stuff sometimes. He comes out with some utter tosh other times. But I love him on the overlap. I think he's really good on there. And of course the recent interview with Anthony Gordon. But I don't think that this really had any ground, if I'm openly honest. I don't think it was ever going to happen. Certainly as a manager, I couldn't see. Mike Ashley at the time, anything's possible, obviously, but Gary Neville wasn't going to come in and change any fortunes for Newcastle United. He would have just been a pawn in Mike Ashley's little club again, and it would have just been a disaster. We know it would have. But very interesting. I mean, obviously we've gone in a very different direction since the takeover, haven't we? But Gary Neville as a manager, I just couldn't see it, guys. I really couldn't. Not after the debacle at Valencia. He says he went there because he was a friend of the owner, and he wanted to try and do him a favour by making Valencia a better football club, and it went horribly wrong, didn't it? So, let me know on your thoughts on that one. Would you have took it to Gary Neville as a manager? I'm not so sure. Now, Jack Grealish is at it again, guys. Now, this is more tongue-in-cheek than anything else. I know he made the remarks to Almiron, of course, a couple of years ago, which were very derogatory. However, this time I think it's just a bit of tongue-in-cheek fun with an England teammate. Obviously, Kieran Trippier is out in Dubai at the moment, training to try and get fit after being out for several weeks with what we thought he was just going to be out with for a week. But unfortunately, it's took a lot longer to heal. He's out in the warm weather, training to try and get back as soon as he can, certainly before the end of the season. Now, pictures have sort of come onto social media with Trippier training out there, and Grealish has made a comment telling Trippier to pull his shorts down. Because the pictures that Jack Grealish has seen, Trippier's got his shorts rolled up and thighs on show and everything like that, and he's told him to pull his shorts down because it's not a very nice sight. Now, I think this is tongue-in-cheek. Obviously, Grealish plays with Trippier in the England setup, and some of the media have gone saying, Grealish takes a dig at another Newcastle player. I don't think it's anything like that, guys, if I'm openly honest. I think it's just tongue-in-cheek. It's a bit of a laugh from Trippier and Grealish, and they'll probably both be laughing about it. But as usual, the media see a comment made by Grealish against a fellow player, and it's blown out of all proportion. But this, for me, is proper tongue-in-cheek. It's a bit of a joke, and that's as far as it'll go. It's certainly nothing like the Almiron situation at all. But, Grealish is capable of that, but not this time, I don't think. Anyway, moving on to the final point is Bruno. And he has issued a rallying cry to his fellow Newcastle United players, saying that we have to finish in the top 6. Now, Bruno wants to be in Europe. There is no doubt about that Bruno wants to be in Europe. He wants to compete for trophies, and he wants to play at the highest level. But it's very interesting that he said there's 4 games to play. We start against Burnley. And he's talking as if these 4 games are absolute cup finals for Newcastle, that they must get 3 points out of each one. Now, speaking as a fan, absolutely. We want full points out of the last 4 games. We want full 3 points in every single game, including at Old Trafford. Because that Old Trafford game now, in a couple of weeks' time, is looking huge. The season comes to an end midway through this month. We know that the pressure's on for a lot of teams. Manchester United are wavering a little bit. We know that after the draw against Burnley. But we've now got to go to Burnley on Saturday and perform. And Bruno is really, really rallying the troops. He's saying that also, interesting point, that he said any European place is very important. So he's saying it doesn't matter if it's the Champions League, Europa League or Conference League. European football is where Newcastle belong and where he wants to play. So take that as what you are. But I know all this stuff about Bruno, leaving, it just seems a load of crap to me, because the way he's talking, and he seems a very decent, honest guy. The way he reacted with the flag the other day, the things he's come out with lately, and of course now issuing a rallying cry saying he wants to be in Europe with Newcastle United next season. So I just wish these medium muppets would just back off, let the season finish. If this, the release clause that he's got, if this is going to, be over a certain amount of time, then let it be. Let's see who does try. Put your money where your mouth is and come in for him. It doesn't mean that Bruno is going to leave, because Bruno can either say yes or he can say no. And if he's committed to Newcastle United, he'll say no, the release clause will disappear, and then we all move on. But the more this release clause is hanging over everybody's head, the more the media are jumping on it. And quite frankly, talking a lot of bollocks. day in, week in, whatever you want to say, it's always there. And it's always there when Newcastle. Isak the same. Arsenal suddenly think they're going to get him. I don't know where that's come from or how Arsenal fans are so confident that they're going to sign Isak. It's absolute turd. Absolute turd. But anyway, there you go. That is the daily news, guys. As usual, please do leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of some of those stories that I've gone through today. Thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Completely free to do so. But don't forget to hit that notification bell as well, which will tell you when we schedule the live shows or we upload any videos such as this one. Any breaking news at Newcastle United, of course, we'll let you know straight away. But in the meantime, take care.